All right, so we start now. We are on page 18. So, death stays, the journeying discoverer life. Life is the energy that is the instrument for play of new manifestation, new progress, new expression, constant movement, constant discovery. And then there is a kind of a failure. This duality is what is our problem. Thus we fall back again and again to the original void, to the original zero. Thus is the throne of the inconscient safe. We may discover, we may rise to the heights, but there is the lower nature and there is the downward pull. And so if we wanted, and we have always wanted at least some form of liberation, there was always this feeling that you have to give up this earthly life, you have to give up this physical existence and fly to some higher level of consciousness in your spirit, in your aspiration. But the body cannot be free from the, you might say, bondage to inertia, dullness, darkness, and death. Thus is the throne of the inconscient safe. While the tardy coilings of the eons pass, the slow, tardy movement of evolution that seems to rise in order to fall. Sri Aurobindo speaks of a spiral, vertical spiral movement. So there is an upward effort, there is always a kind of a fall. We go back to the starting point, again rise up to go back to the original starting point. What is the point? That's when somebody has decided, this is Savitri, to say, this pattern has to change. Otherwise, we are not beings who are only meant to aspire and in the end always fail. You aspire in your heart, in your spirit, even in your mind, and your body remains the way it was. Your lower vital remains the way it was. So that is the whole problem that separates humanity from divinity. The human nature has to become divine, the life divine has to be manifested on earth, in the body. That means what is the downward pull has to be replaced by a constant play of light, whether we are living in the world of body and matter or life or mind or spirit. Everything is an expression of the divine essence, which it is not. We are not even conscious of that. So there has to be a change of consciousness. There has to be a change of our whole acceptance of reality. Until then, he says, the animal browses in the sacred fence. There are two possibilities in this word, not only as it always made me think of the soul and the anima, but it is also the cow, which is the ancient symbol in the Vedas of light. Go means also light. So that presence of light remains within and is not allowed to manifest itself in the external field of body and life and mind. So within we are divine, outwardly we are undivine. There is a fence separating the external from the inner presence. This is why we remain divided human beings. But the human is really not the opposite of the divine. A human being is, you might say, first or preliminary expression of something that can grow out of its present state and become something other than what we are. Life is that, it's a constant journey, it's a constant evolution. We can become what we are not yet, because that seed of becoming which is there in the present and which will manifest in the future is already within us. The seed of divinity is already within us, which is why we can become and aspire to God, light, freedom, immortality. How can we ask for that? These are not words foreign to us. They are essential to our nature, which is why we can attempt to become that. Until that has been established within our consciousness, the animal remains, the presence of light remains within. And outwardly, we are beings that are struggling in the dark. We don't know exactly where we are going and why we are moving at all. And the gold hawk is a bird of light, of power. It goes straight to, it's a symbol of really a force that accepts no opposition. It can look straight into the eyes with its eyes into the sun. It's one of those rare birds that is not afraid of the sun. The eagle, the hawk. Man is afraid of looking straight into the sun. He is blinded by too much light. But this is not a mental image. The hawk is the symbol of this direct movement of power, which is also a movement towards light, which is intuition. So there is this inner psychic and soul presence that stays within. There is the flash of opening towards light. But as man becomes more and more a rational being, he does not accept, he does not believe that he can be different. This was the first age in the human development, was the age of the mysteries, where there were a few, you can't say all the early, those who belong to the early ages were all rishis. No, not at all, couldn't have been. But those that counted, even if they were a handful, they were the ones that counted. They were the ones who really recognized that this world of matter, outward manifestation, stands for the play of certain forces which are hidden behind the outward form. There is a play of light and consciousness and truth. And this is what they really aimed at directly, not with the analytical mind. It was not the age of analysis and examination and understanding. It was a simple, direct movement of vision. Direct vision, intuition. This was lost as man became progressively more and more rational. He trusted reason much more than his direct vision and intuition. This was relegated into the background, and therefore the gold hawk does not cross the sky. Sky symbolizes the mind. So the flash of revelation, the flash of intuition that would cross man's mind before the mental age began to dominate him, that was lost with time. But one stood up and lit the limitless flame. So ours is not a limitless flame. There is a flame that climbs and there is the flame that dies. What goes up comes down. In our lives also, in our hearts and minds, the flame goes up, the flame comes down. To have a limitless flame, to rise and not rise to fall. That is the pattern, which is not the way the human being has thought that it is possible to move. We have always said, I have to go, I have to die, I have to fall, I have to fail. In the meantime, I'll do the best I can. But one, Savitri stood up. This is the main issue, the theme, the conquest over death. That she will challenge the victory, the hold, the grip that death has not only over our bodies, but over our hearts and minds and consciousness. We have accepted to be mortal. Though we are children of immortality, we relate ourselves to mortality. The divine may be our origin, but darkness seems to be our mother. And we go back to that womb again and again. So this pattern has to be altered. In order to do so, every, you might say, point of denial, which is ignorance, which is unconsciousness, which is there in every part of our being. I am speaking just now, but my body doesn't believe everything that I am saying. There is, in every cell, there is an acceptance of failure. It's a flame that inevitably seems to fade, has to die. To be able to replace this pattern and light a flame that will never die, that is what she has come to do. To remove not just the domination, but even the presence of ignorance and inconscience in every particle of earth nature and human nature. It's a very slow, long process. But then she is also limitless. She doesn't bother that how much time it may take, but it will be done. That is the work for which she has come. She has come for that. Naturally, the opposite force will try to hamper, to hinder. So arraigned by the dark power that hates all bliss. These are the titans that he has spoken of earlier. These sentinels of dimness, suffering, falsehood, death, inconscience. These are the great asuras. And they seem to rule the earth nature. When she has come to make this attempt to break out of the bondage to darkness and death, naturally the opposite forces will rise up and fight. They will revolt. That is the whole play of the universal manifestation. It is always a battle. It's not a straightforward journey. Nothing is a straightforward journey. So she is accused, arraigned, attacked by the dark power that hates all bliss. Because bliss is the original principle from which really this universe has emanated. Is the divine Ananda. This is replaced by an acceptance of sorrow, the ultimate suffering, which is death. So here this power rules us. She has come to break this rule. So it will fight back. In the dire court where life must pay for joy. This is what we have today. Every joy, even pleasure, demands a price. The price of effort, the price of pain, the price of failure very often, of struggle. There is always this pull that makes every forward step that is taken, there is a backward pull. Even physically we have that. You can't put one leg forward without the other leg pulling you back. This is really symbolic of our human nature. Every joy has to pay for it. You have to pay for every joy with the price of pain, of struggle, of loss. This is the law. So she is sentenced by the mechanic justicer. Justicer is rarely used. The word is not a judge. A justicer is an executioner, the one who punishes in the name of justice, in the name of so-called justice and law. He has no say in the work he does. He doesn't have a choice. His work, he does it because that is his profession. An executioner is a professional. He does the work he is asked to do. He is not someone who says, I don't like to destroy, I don't like to kill, I don't like to execute anybody. That's the way he makes his living in the world of man. In the world of life also it's the same thing. There are certain principles, this force which drags one down. It's a mechanical pattern that has to make us suffer for whatever attempt we make to break the law. Just as in the physical world, if you break a law, you have to suffer. To break any law, you have to suffer. You want to break the law of ignorance and death, you have to suffer that much more. Naturally, it's a fundamental law that has always been there. This is the justice. It's a battle. This is to the afflicting penalty of man's hopes. The penalty for hope is affliction, is suffering. You dare much, you hope much, you attempt much, you suffer much. When you don't dare to do anything, you stay in your little corner because you're afraid of the consequence. You don't go anywhere, you stay exactly where you were. But anyone who wants to break out and make an attempt to move has to accept that the path is rough, is difficult. It's not going to be helpful. Nobody is going to help us. Our own natures come in the way. The gods may help you, but you will not accept the help. You will deny, you will not believe that they are there to help you. You say, I can't, it is not possible. I'm merely human. I always insist that I'm a human being, I'm not a god. I don't remember that I'm a human being, therefore I am a god in the making, but I'm a god. This is not a statement we usually accept or make. But she was the one who did so. In spite of, so we know that in this poem, Savitri will have to face the ultimate sorrow, the ultimate suffering. Death, difficulty, pain, darkness will be there, that will be her lot. But her head she bowed not to the stark decree. It's a law. It is a law that is not selective. All have to go through this. But she is going to be the exception. She will not accept the law.
She will break the law.
She's come for that.
She's come to break the law.
To break the law. She's a rebel. But they have to be rebels, they're always. Her head she bowed not to the stark decree, bearing her helpless heart to destiny's stroke. She did not do that. She did not bare her heart to the stroke of suffering and death. This, though she knew this will be the penalty she has to pay, she is unafraid. That is one of the aspects of greatness, absence of fear. His mother insists on this all the time. What drags us down is not the problem, it's the fear of the problem. Before the problem strikes, it's just the thought and the fear that keeps us all, shivering in our little corners. She is a heroine. She is utterly fearless. Fearlessness, it's so beautifully described by Mother. It's one of the greatest forms of purity. She says fear is an impurity. It's because we are impure that we are afraid. Well, she is utterly pure. That is the symbol. She is a ray of light that has come down from the sun. There is no impurity in her, therefore there is no fear and no weakness. But man accepts, because he is a mixed being. In him there is impurity. In him there is the element of darkness. As long as he is there, there is ignorance. As long as he calls himself man, he is an ignorant man. The element of error is there always in his mind. If he follows a mental path, there is always the element of error. So, here, so bows and must the mind-born will in man. Man has to bow to destiny's stroke, the stroke that will throw us down. Man's will is born in the mind, not from his spirit. It is transmitted by his mental force. It is limited, and therefore there is an end to it. Man believes, therefore, to follow the patterns that have been set by the past. So bows and must the mind-born will in man, obedient to the statutes fixed of old. Statutes are commands, laws that have always controlled humanity, controlled our existence. Always we have been told, you are a limited being, you have to live within the limits of birth and death. You make the best of the time given to you as much as you can, as best as you can, but you are not a being who can live indefinitely, eternally. And yet, something in man, even in his mind, knows he cannot be, he cannot exist unless he is born from the Supreme. He is a projection of the Supreme. The Supreme is infinite. And why do we accept that we are not infinite? Somewhere along the way, we accept, just like a ray of light, the further it goes from the source, it gets dimmer and dimmer. So mind is an element, you might say a principle of light, but it is a dim principle. And in the world of mind, we cannot function unless there is the principle of darkness. Mind is a dual force. Where there is light, there is darkness. Where there is truth, there has to be the principle of error, of falsehood. It is a dividing principle. And so if we are here now, we will not be here always. We are here today, we will go tomorrow. This is what the mind has always accepted as the rule. This is the statute. This is obedient to the statutes fixed of old, admitting without appeal the nether gods, the dark forces that come up from below are there. The forces of not just weakness and ignorance and unconsciousness and tamas, but the acceptance of these forces, that they are there and I am bound to obey them. These forces are also my rulers. And so we remain divided beings. Maybe within there is the aspiration for the highest. You can meditate on the truth. You can meditate and hope and aspire for the light. At the same time, we accept that we cannot be other, basically, physically, materially, other than we are. That has been our problem. Though we are Amritasya Putraha, children of immortality, we are mortals. We accept mortality as our rule. There is a paradox somewhere, there's a contradiction, but man is a creature of contradictions. He accepts opposites and lives in both these concepts simultaneously. So so bows and must the mind-born will in man, obedient to the statutes fixed of old, admitting without appeal the images of the law, right from the justicer, and the sentence starts with the word arraigned. Arraigned is accused in a court of law. Is brought before the judge, and the judge says you have to be punished. And sometimes you can appeal against the sentence, but here there is no appeal. The lower forces come and take over our life. So this is the human nature. This is the human being. In contrast, she is different. She is not a human being. So we have the description of Savitri in opposition to the description of the human being, even a superior human being. In her, the superhuman cast its seed. That's why she has come. Not to be bound by these laws that limit humanity to its smallness, but that ability to break out of our ordinariness to become an expression of the divine, the superhuman. It is there, but we have not consented to accept it. That is the whole. It's almost a sad statement that Mother made. She said, if only humanity consented to be spiritualized. If only we consented and we changed the foundation of our nature and base ourselves on the spirit and not on the inconscious. But we don't give this consent. But in her, it was there. The new manifestation of a new being. She is the divine who has become human. But it is this is the reason why she has come. To prove that the human can become again the superhuman, the divine, from where originally he came. We go back to our origin, to the divine. But we have to grow back into that. The seed has to grow. It will take time. We have to struggle. The plant, the tree, the flower, all these manifest themselves slowly against resistance, against opposition. This, again, in each line we find the whole poem is given to us, the whole story of Savitri is given to us in just one line. It's a very long poem, but also you find how compact he is at the same time. That she is going to fight this battle. She is going to win this battle. Because she will lead humanity to superhumanity. In that superhumanity, death has no role to play. There has to be the death of death, the end of death. In her, the superhuman cast its seed. Inapt to fold its mighty wings of dream, her spirit refused to hug the common soil. We all hug the common soil, for the most part, except our ordinariness, our dullness, our weakness, our failure, and say, I can't help it, this is the way I am. But I have to first not just change, but believe that I can change. Before I can start to change, I have to have a dream. I have to have a faith. I have to have a belief. These things are the starting points, which is there in one of Mother's very simple texts that she spoke to the children. Il faut rêver. You have to dream. You have to first start by believing that there is a new way of being which is not evident around you. But unless we dream, we hope, we aspire, how can it ever start? Well, she came to tell us just that. So the wings of dream that can make us fly, she would not fold these wings. She, in her, the hawk would not ever stop crossing the skies. In us, it does. Often the word spirit is associated with the bird also. That's true. Your soul or your spirit is compared to the inner presence, a bird. This bird doesn't fly. For the most part, it stays inside, caged within the walls of body, life, mind, ignorance, unconsciousness, lack of faith, and all the rest. But it is always there. This bird in her is coming out. Inapt to fold its mighty wings of dream, her spirit refused to hug the common soil. That's the first image. Or another image. Finding all life's golden meanings robbed, compound with earth, struck from the starry list. That's the second image. Sometimes we feel that wherever there is a great attempt, a great hope, a great aspiration, it is inevitably followed by failure, a great sorrow, a great blow. He who tries to rise very high falls very low. That has been the thought that men have always had. So then we fall back into the darkness from which we came. That's when we have to compound with earth. Compound with earth is make a compromise. Your spirit can rise, your lower nature stays where it was. You can make some kind of an arrangement, an adjustment, but actually no compromise is ever satisfactory. It doesn't, the person who makes the compromise is not even happy. We are not happy. We are born from Ananda. We are meant to manifest the supreme Ananda. We live in pain. We accept it. So because we find that inevitably all these golden dreams and hopes and beautiful words that poets have sung about, rishis have sung in their hymns, they are not realizable. They are very nice.
They are.
Good. Believe it. But otherwise,
They are realizable.
we hug the common soil and say, nobody has done this before.
No, there are so many people.
That's the
have
common
done
soil.
it.
No one has done it. How is it possible? No man has been ever transformed into an eternal, immortal being. What is Mother and Sri Aurobindo? What are they saying? It's not possible. It's all very beautiful, but it's unrealizable. This is the approach of the so-called reasonable mental man. What nobody else has done cannot be done. In fact, that is the thing that nobody has done, therefore somebody has to start. Somebody has to do it. Someday. Break out of that mold. That's very good. But that's rare.
You know, one thing interesting is like in sports, for example, the man cannot run faster than such and such minutes.
So that's why he does
The
it.
next man is doing more than that.
Exactly.
You know, it's exactly the same thing, I feel.
Yes, because there is something that pushes. But that's
Pushes for
those
the realization,
men who do that, they are the minority.
Well,
Yes, but they are. They do it.
but they are at,
Yeah,
but
they
they are
are.
at the head of,
Yes, I agree. I know.
evolution.
Yes, true.
I know what you mean, but I mean,
But
it's also there that
why
the
does
push
mankind
is-
not change in spite of this effort that is made by even a few, even by 10 men? Why do we not change? Why do we relate more to the millions that are ordinary?
That's
There's a lot
changing.
of money in mediocrity.
This
a
we
lot
ac-
of money. It's the herd mentality.
Exactly.
Those golden
So we just go
shekels,
back.
let's-
We go back to our mediocrity, our ordinariness. We don't dare. There is a lack of not just courage, but of faith, of acceptance. We say these are fools who think they can do something that has never been done before. Because mind hates to break out of its boundaries. But it is meant to break out of its
But it
boundaries.
is changing, no, Jhumur?
There is thing.
Yeah, it's changing. I mean,
It
doesn't-
even if it is like an ant step, it's already a big step, I think.
But it doesn't
It's
take
lovely
the
that you
whole
should be
population
so
to
optimistic.
shift.
It is true. It is very
It is
true.
true,
It's
isn't
true.
it?
It is
It
true.
is advancing. And, it's...
Well, you have a
advancing.
little bit of Savitri in you.
Oh, no, I wish I had.
Surely have. I believe it. No, I'm not joking. All of us do actually.
Yes.
We wouldn't be here if we didn't.
Her spirit refused to hug the common soil, or finding all life's golden meanings robbed, compound with earth, struck from the starry list. You see, we belong to the world of light,
Yes.
stars.
Yes.
Our line, we are dead stars. Stars also die. That's the whole thing. You get that in Book 2, Canto 6. There are spirits that have died and their names have been
Struck
crossed
out.
out from the starry list. The acceptance of inevitable failure. Because our origin is an expression of light, even if it is a light in the darkness. Stars are lights in the darkness. But stars don't flicker. They are permanent lights. We are that. We are essentially that. Why don't we believe it?
Believe it, believe it, believe it, believe it.
Okay, live it then.
You
That's
certainly
right.
are not a star of darkness. We know that. We are a star of light, like right here.
So we, or quench, a third image, or quench with black despair the God-given light. This is what we do. We are children of light. We are children of immortality. And we pour the waters of despair on that flame. We kill it. Hope as opposed to despair. The flame of aspiration and the cold waters of the mind that says not possible, it cannot be done, it has never been done. Why do you try to do things like this? Accept the ordinary. You are safe. Live in your little safe world.
No way,
Don't
no way,
dare.
no way.
To do too much. The heroes are few. Those who even fail, but attempt and fail, even they are very few. The vast majority doesn't even dare. So this is the human race. She is not like that. Again and again, in opposition to the ordinary human nature, her nature is not like that. Why is she not like that? Accustomed to the eternal and the true. And so that is the world she has come from, that is the world she will live in, that is the world she will build around her. Not the world of falsehood, not the world of failure, not the world of death.
So he gives the remedy for each one of the negativities, because he says what she is, and he says what the majority is, and she says what she is.
Yes.
So you just
See,
hook
it's not
yourself.
easy. Accustomed to the eternal and the true, her being conscious of its divine founts. This is what we also have to be.
Yeah, that's the solution,
That's the
right?
solution.
You have to be conscious of your divine origin. What if that is the case? Her being conscious of its divine founts asked not from mortal frailty pain's relief. Pain's relief is the end of pain, death. That is why we fall back. I don't want to suffer anymore, let me die. Let me end this life which is inevitably a struggle, a suffering, a failure. I live on through so many hardships, so much injustice, so much suffering. I want to finish with all that. This is the frailty in our nature. We cannot bear unending pain because it's an unending road. From the mental point of view, this change is very slow and very long. To root out the whole, you might say, origin of darkness which is there within us. That has to be rooted out. So she did not ask for relief. She knows that she will have to fight, she will have to suffer, she will have to go through the battle, but she does not want any easy solution. No, pain relievers of any sort, whether physical or moral or psychological or anything. She's not afraid. Patched not with failure, bargain or compromise. To make a compromise is also some kind of a patchwork. I get a little, I give you a little. Give me a little joy, I'll pay the price of a little pain. I don't ask for too much, so don't make me suffer too much. This is a bargain. This is not the original divine principle. Because she is the principle of love. It's come down on earth for earth and man. This love is fearless, therefore it is power. This love is knowledge, it is wisdom. She is the Divine Mother, the force of evolution. It is through her that change can come. So no temporary or intermediate solution is the reason why she has come. She has not come for that. We do that all the time. She has not come for that. She has come to root out the whole problem of suffering and pain. That is the fundamental problem. So here we have 2 cantos on pain. In the Life Divine you have 3 chapters on pain. So because this is the basic problem in man's life, suffering.
Until life finds him,
Yes.
pain can never cease.
Yes.
So the solution is here. You have to find your divine fount.
Not only that, you can find it, but you have to found your whole existence on that.
Oh, you have to completely become that.
Exactly. You have found it, some have. But they withdraw into that state and say, I will live only in that state. So I sing and chant the name of the Divine, the Lord. I don't care about the rest, I forget about the world. It is not by withdrawing into that state that we have come here.
No, you have to embody it in life.
To live it in every particle of your being, in every action and every thought. It means it's a total transformation. This is the yoga of transformation. What both have come for, what Savitri has come for, is the yoga of transformation. So all that he has said in the Life Divine, he is saying only even in one line. This is something so magical that only he can do it. He writes a poem that is longer than any other poem, and then he puts all of his truth in one line also. At the same time, that compactness, that density.
And you said earlier that pain was bliss originally from the 4 powers.
Yes.
So you have to remember we're living in a mirrored reflection. So whatever that pain is, it's actually bliss.
You know, Judson, it's not a question of remembering only.
Well, you have to do it. You have to turn the pain
You have
into
to
bliss.
become, not only you have to first become conscious,
Right.
and then you have to change.
Right.
That's the difficult part.
Right.
First you know, first you are told, and they have told us this many times. But we read and we understand to some extent, but we continue to be the same, or maybe a little better than before.
Yeah, just a little bit.
I think that's why that injury that I had 36 years ago, like for example today, they twisted until my ankle popped. It was very painful.
Yeah.
I just breathed and held and went with it because I knew I had to let go. And I don't know, there's no words for it. I'm not saying that
No,
is-
that pain that you had becomes a reason for you to break out of it.
Yeah, and it did. It literally broke. But
At that moment, this pain becomes a blessing,
yeah.
you can say.
No, and also
I don't wish
I
it on
think
anyone.
No, I would wish it on
also-
anybody, but still.
I also think that the amount of pain that you have gone through by living through these lives that you have lived through, that same amount is at one point totally replaced by the exact amount of bliss that corresponds to that.
Exact amount, I don't know. It's infinite.
It's like the karma.
Yes, but
It's-
it is also a kind of, I think it's not measured.
No.
It spills out of you, that joy, that love.
None of the things that you have suffered are not going to be rewarded later. That's what I mean.
Yes, yes.
That's what I
But
mean.
it's sloppy.
No, it's
It's
immediate.
tight, but what I'm saying is the way it gets expressed, if we try to grasp it from our mind.
So she has not come for accepting, making a compromise. Writing the unfinished story of her soul in thoughts and actions graved in nature's book. She accepted not to close the luminous page, cancel her commerce with eternity, or set a signature of weak assent to the brute balance of the world's exchange. She has not come for that. A force in her that toiled since earth was made. This is what she has been doing. This is the story of her soul. To toil and break the resistance of ignorance and inconscience on which the earth life seems to be founded. She is not, this is the sacrifice of the Divine Mother, this is also the force. She has not come to accept the past manifestation as final. It is a movement towards light. Evolution is a gradual, slow movement of consciousness towards, from greater unconsciousness to lesser unconsciousness to total consciousness. It is a luminous journey, but the light in the beginning is very slight. Slowly the light grows. Slowly the manifestation expands. She accepts not to say it's finished. It is not finished. She will not cancel her commerce. Commerce is some kind of a, it's not, it's just an exchange. It's a deal. She has, as if she has been sent down by the Eternal to fulfill this role. She is a projection of the Divine who has come down on earth to make this, and she will fulfill her role. She will not set a signature of weak assent, acceptance, consent, like we do. Finally, I can't help it, I'm like this. I've tried, I've failed, and now I give up. She is not like that at all. To the brute balance of the world's exchange. So it's like the word commerce and the word exchange, where there is loss, there is gain. She has not come to accept loss and failure. This is the nature of Savitri. Okay?
She's a divine merchant.
That is why the next line, she has been doing this from the beginning of time.
Yes.
She toiled since the earth was made. So we know exactly what she is. the universal Shakti, the evolutionary power that has been working in the darkness, slowly lifting, removing the veils of resistance gradually. It is a very slow, long process. Only the Divine can accept this task. She will do it. He will not do it. The Supreme Consciousness stays. He sends down her force. She has to do the battle. She has to be as if she says, I will go down into the mud.
You know what's the most difficult line is this one. In her own self, she found her high recourse.
Yes. Nobody is there to help her. Nobody is going to help her.
Wow.
You just read the life of the mother and you get all your answers.
She fought and fought and fought all the time, no?
Yeah.
A warrior.
That's amazing.
You have to be hero warriors. That's the prayer.
Yes. The
We're
kids
her boots on the ground.
also. We are just following.
You have an
You
opportunity.
know the prayer completely? You can recite for us?
You can also.
No, I don't know it by heart. Not totally.
Where can I find it?
The student's prayer. She can say it also.
You will say it?
Fais de nous des guerriers héroïques que nous aspirons à devenir pour livrer avec succès la grande bataille de l'avenir qui doit naître contre le passé qui veut durer, afin que les choses nouvelles puissent se manifester et que nous soyons prêts à les recevoir.
I'll tell you.
Make of us the hero warriors which we aspire to become. Go on now.
May we
Fight successfully the great battle of the future, that is to be born against the past that seeks to endure, so that the new things may manifest and we be ready to receive them. This is the prayer that is the student's prayer. It's printed on every notebook.